So far, we have reported everything that we have learnt around the arrest of Garrick Merrifield. But one thing that we haven't spoken about is the reaction of the viewers, people like yourselves, all right? And that's something that we're going to touch on in this video. Now, I want to start off with an article that I came across on TV Season and Spoilers, okay, where it does say which wife was the victim of Garrick Merrifield's domestic violence case. Now, that's a question that we already know the answer to, and that is Lorena. It can only be her simply because, well, here's the thing, when it came to social media, Danielle and Garrick both removed Lorena off of their social media pages. So that's pretty much a no-brainer, okay? Now, with that being said, let's talk about this situation here where it says, seeking sister wife, arrest details reveal tense confrontation and fans' reactions, okay? The general public and fans of seeking sister wife finally got clarity with new details from the police. Affidavit confirmed that altercation involved Lorena. Course, according to the documents, she told officer Garrick grabbed her phone during an argument. Garrick even refused to let her contact her family back in Brazil. And this is something that has definitely got people talking, because now we're thinking, is this why they always seek women from another country? Because therefore it's easier to control them if they have nowhere else to go, no one else to speak to that is close by? That there is a killer question, isn't it, folks? Let me know your thoughts on that one. Now, also, he continues here by saying, when she said she wanted to call the police, he kept her phone from her and threatened to contact immigration and customs enforcement, which of course we know as ICE. And let's be real, with everything that's happened in America right now, I'm not even surprised that he used it as one of the threats against her. But let's talk about the detail that's actually very key to this. Him threatening to report to ICE to pretty much get her deported. The most annoying thing about it is that Sarah, which is their child, the baby that's just obviously arrived, courtesy of Garrick and Lorena, the question is, would that child stay in America or would that child go home or go to Brazil with the mother? Now, in most cases, usually the child is always going to be with the mother more than the father. But in this situation, well, that's where things get a bit interesting, because if Garrick really was to call ICE on Lorena, well, here's the thing. We know that, of course, Sarah was born in the United States, but at the same time, we also know, according to Donald Trump, from what I understand, you can correct me if I'm wrong, even if a child is born in the United States from a foreign family, it doesn't mean that child is guaranteed citizenship in that country. So therefore, if your parents were to get deported, the child will get deported too. That's something that I heard probably about a year ago. Maybe that's changed or maybe I misheard it, but that's where I say things get a little bit confusing, because here's the thing. We know Danielle is not legally the mother of Sarah. We know obviously Garrick is, but at the same time, given the fact that this threat was made before he was arrested, we can only talk about this based on the fact that obviously this would have been done without him being obviously arrested, you see what I'm saying? So therefore, I can imagine that in this threat, not only would he be threatening to deport her, but I'd imagine he'd also be threatening to keep Sarah with him and Danielle in America. And that's something that I can definitely see him doing, do you see what I'm saying? And that's where things just get really even more ugly in this whole situation. Now, also on top of that, he does say the official documents state that Lorena became terrified because she didn't fully understand the legal system. Even though she is in the US legally on a visa, the affidavit states Lorena used the internet to search for ways to contact law enforcement. She believed Garrick discovered this because he deactivated the Wi-Fi on her devices. Online records show the authorities charged Garrick with misdemeanor domestic violence and obstructing telephone service before releasing him. I mean, it's crazy that this man has obviously been released, but it does say here that some viewers expressed relief for the woman who had left the Merrifield house earlier. One fan wrote, "I bet Roberta and Natalia are glad they are gone." Others questioned the nature of the charge. One user asked, "People get arrested for that?" Some followers brought up past events regarding Garrick. One wrote, "They always wanted someone who couldn't communicate well and they never learned Portuguese." Another suggested TLC might cut the family from the show due to the arrest. For me personally, I don't think TLC are going to cut the family from the show anytime soon. I feel like for them to cut Garrick off the show would be only if he was found guilty. I think as long as he's still free and he's not been found guilty, I reckon they're probably going to keep him on there. Why? Because they're going to use all of this as a way to, it's basically for them, it's free promotion to get more viewers to watch the next episode of Seeking Sister Wife, as well as even watching the next season if these two were to return, which for me, in my opinion, I can definitely see that happening. Now, of course, we kind of say that Roberta and Natalia obviously got away, which is obviously fantastic for them because Lord knows. But I will say this though, the comment regarding the fact that these two have never actually learned Portuguese is very, very concerning. Given the fact that they always go to the same country to seek women, but yet for some reason, yeah, you don't even know the language yet. Yes, so for me personally, I can see why that has been raised as a question. Now, here's the thing, folks. We're now going to head over to Reddit, okay? Because in Reddit now, there's been several different articles that have been posted, or should I say theories or thoughts that have been posted by different people, which I thought we should definitely bring to the table. So, as you can see here, and this first one itself in particular here, this person says Lorena is now living in a house with Danielle. Can you even imagine the effed up mind games being played right now? Danielle is like a mosquito in Lorena's ear, trying to minimize his actions and more likely justifying them. She has been there for a little over a year living with these two wackadoos and probably has very little interaction with people around her who actually don't need to Google Translate to communicate with. And now she has a newborn baby and no family support. Oh, okay, I need to click on this one real quick. My apologies, folks. With no family support, at least nearby, I can't imagine what she must be feeling. Now, here's the thing, folks. Let's really put this into perspective. Let's say Garrick is actually found guilty, okay? Here's the thing, though. I feel like depending on what he's found guilty on, is there a case where Danielle could kind of be roped into the situation as an accessory? Because for me personally, we know Danielle goes along with everything that Garrick says, which means that, of course, if Garrick wanted her to pretty much manipulate someone, what would she do? She would happily do it. You see what I'm saying? Because she follows every single thing this evil man says. So that is one of the concerns that I do have, to be honest with you, regarding obviously Danielle's involvement and willingness to still want to exist in her husband's life, or ex-husband's life, shall I say. And also on top of that, it has been literally reported on TV every single season that these two purposely got divorced, so therefore they could purposely marry someone from a foreign country to be able to move over and to be with them. And it's something that they've also witnessed, as they've also stated in this season 2, that once 2 years has passed by, they would then look to divorce Lorena to then seek another sister wife, and then for Garrick to marry that one too, so therefore that one is able to stay in the United States. Now, of course, Danielle tried to downplay it by saying, but this is based on if we find a sister wife that's outside of America, which, let's be real, they're going to do that because that's what they've always done. In fact, in the previous season of Sister Wife, I remember correctly, Garrick literally said that he likes women of all walks and pretty much made it clear that he wants a woman from every single walk of life. Okay, so let's be real. Them getting another woman from a different country, 100%. Now, as you can see, this person does come in and says, I don't think anyone living in an abusive environment is right. I also don't know how any grown woman would have dated them when a single Google search would have given them all the reasons to run from the start. I mean, listen, I completely get that comment, but at the same time, if these women don't know who he is, look at it this way. They've gone to Brazil to find someone again, all right? Why would a woman in Brazil think, oh, let me Google this man and see who he is? Do you see what I'm saying? So really and truly, I can understand the point being made here, but I think this is one of the reasons why they target women from other countries, because they're not going to think about this. But to be fair, would a woman from America right now start dating a guy and be like, oh, do you know what? Maybe I should Google him. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that really think about that. Nobody really thinks about that. So to be fair, I feel like that comment is a bit out there. Now, of course, this person says, I don't get it. She can do so much better. She doesn't strike me as someone that just wants a visa. I wonder how they hooked her in. Listen, for me personally, I think that Danielle, if anything, is probably a big part of how these two are able to actually lure women in. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised that when it came to talking to these women online, it was Danielle behind the typing, not Gary, because Danielle would know how to connect with a woman because she's a woman. Do you see what I'm saying? More than what a man would do. So to be fair, you never know. Maybe Danielle is the key of how they actually bring these women into their lives. Something to obviously, think about. Now, also on top of that, as you can see, there are so many threads obviously going on right now. Obviously, this is something that we spoke about before. This is obviously Garrick, obviously in a Zoom meeting regarding, of course, everything that is going down. Now, also on top of that, yourself in particular here, public information about Garrick, which is something else that we've obviously spoke about too. But I'll tell you what we are going to do before I skip off this one, because I did say this video is based on the reactions that I've seen of people online. Let's read a few here. So, I have no one to talk about this. I mean, this is why we come online, right? Do you know what I mean? This is why we come online, to obviously be able to talk to people about these things that we are seeing. Now, this is the one that really needs to be highlighted more than ever. This is straight up human trafficking. And it is frustrating because now he's been arrested, even though he's now been released. It is frustrating because will they ever be called out for this type of behavior? Will the authorities ever say to them, okay, is there a reason why you seek the woman outside the country? Is there a reason why you decided to divorce your wife but still live with your wife, or still live with your ex-wife, and now live with this new wife? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, of course, I do understand, depending on what state you live in, there are different laws, which is where things get complicated. But obviously for me, I'm from the UK, so obviously, to be honest, when it comes to the states of where they live, when it comes to the laws of where they live, it's a complete calamity for me, because I know what it is. What it would be here wouldn't be the same for what it would be in the state that they live in itself in particular. But here's the thing, folks. When it comes to Garrick and Danielle, do you think that there's a possibility that they will ever be called up by the authorities for the fact that they are pretty much legitimately doing some human trafficking? Because it doesn't look right, do you see what I'm saying? And also, if they were to look at their pattern, they will also recognize that the pattern where they have 3 times now gone to Brazil to seek a woman to want to be with them, do you see what I'm saying? Which, of course, for me, if that's not something that's concerning, then I'm a bit, you see what I'm saying? Now, of course, here, this person says a lot of comments are saying they are shocked, but I saw this coming. The Merrifield family preyed on young, poor Brazilian women, borderline sex trafficking. Of course, he's a predator. Someone else says, I saw it coming too. Garrick is a predator. He has been a predator as far as back as when he first groomed Danielle. See, now we're getting into the nitty and gritty, okay? As a youth pastor, when she was a young teen, he abused her in the position of power then, and he's just sick and twisted now. You see, these are the things that we obviously have. These are the things that have to be highlighted. In fact, if the authority was going to do some sort of backtracking into Garrick's life, I'm sure they would look at, okay, how old was his wife when he met her? How old was Danielle, obviously, when he decided to, well, how old is Danielle when he met her? All that kind of stuff. Then they can reference that to all the other women that he's also had involved in his life as well. Now, there's a film on Netflix. I think it's called The Devil All the Way, something like that, with Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland. If you haven't watched that film, I recommend you watch it, because to be fair, this kind of gives me vibes of that, because that was based on Robert Pattinson being a pastor who would lure young girls in for his own sexual advances. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is literally one of those situations right now. I could have got the name wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's The Devil Always. Oh wait, the devil. What did I say a second ago? You heard what I said. Either way, though, you can always Google Robert Pattinson and just go through his films and you find the one that I'm talking about with Tom Holland, okay, folks? Now, with that being said, of course, here, there is also still information going on now. I'm not going to play the video itself in particular, but there was a comment that I did see here that I do want to point out. Now, this is the one here where somebody says that's why they want foreign women. They think they're easiest to control, something that I've alluded to before in the previous videos, and have them completely isolated from their families, such friends, and completely reliant on them for everything. She basically signed up to be a prisoner of those 2 freaks. I'm not a bit surprised this ended up like this. And let's be real, folks, is any one of you surprised that this is how this all kind of went down? Not kind of, did go down. Sorry, my apologies. Poor choice of words there. And then also this person says, I can't get the scene out of my head when Lorena first arrived from Brazil and was terrified by how isolated the house seemed to be. And clearly they had not prepared for her. Danny's cold, crooked smile and Casler's comment, you're not in the Kansas anymore. Dorothy shows how calculated and cruel she has been under its brainwashing. So there is also that part too. These are the things that I guess it's very good for us to be reminded of when it comes to who exactly we watch on a weekly basis once a year. Yeah. Well, luckily you are allowed to apply for the K1 visa 2 times. Oh, 2 times your entire life. So I think his hands are tied in regards of bringing any more foreign women to America. Interesting. Very interesting. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had a way around that, to be honest with you. The man is crooked. A crooked man has always got ways. He's always got loopholes in some way, shape or form. Do you know what I mean? Let's not get it twisted. Now, with that being said, let me know exactly what your thoughts are down below in the comment section, folks, okay? And obviously, we can mostly talk about it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.